My name is King Christopher Washington. I am a part of Forever Kings graduating class 2025, and I've been a Forever King for at least 5 years.
My journey with Forever Kings started when a good friend of mine and I were having a conversation about my struggles as a single mom raising a young black man. I was not surrounded around a lot of good men in my life at that time. I had some male family members, but they were all kind of doing their own thing, living their lives. And my friend told me about this extraordinary black man named Jordan Bankston who started a program called Forever Kings, where he pretty much focused on the void that I was experiencing as a young single mom. And so I actually had Jordan come on my podcast and I learned a little bit more about him as a man and a business owner there. And Jordan was the first person to bring me to tears on my podcast as we talked about my son and the struggles that I had as a young black mom. And yeah, he was very welcoming to my son, and my son actually showed up at the end of the first season on their retreat, and he never left.
For my first time at Forever Kings, it was at the 2020 retreat. It was I think it was the first retreat that they went on, and my mom convinced me to go. It was a different experience than I ever had before. It was full of young black men striving to be the best that they could. And even though I hadn't been in Forever Kings and they already started before I joined, they still treated me like I was one of their own. And I had been there all along, and I made some magical memories with my brothers there. Brotherhood is something really special to me because I hadn't gotten to experience it for the last, say, 13 years prior, and now seeing how it was to actually have brothers, I never wanted to give it away.
So some of the struggles that I dealt with as a single mom trying to raise a young black man, a young black son, were, body and hygiene was one. Like, I also have a daughter, and that was just something that was very natural. Actually, everything with her was natural, right? When her body changed, I understood it. When her emotions changed, I understood it. But with my son, I would see it, but I didn't understand it. I didn't know how to recognize it. And I didn't know how to handle it in a way that a young man needed me to handle it versus a way that a young lady would need me to handle it. My son's emotions, with my daughter, it was like, she was the princess, so she could cry and she could have a little fit. And with my son, like, I wanted him to know as a young black man it's okay to cry, but I also didn't want him to, be too emotional or over emotional. As a mom, I can get through to his character, but how he conducts himself as a man, how he walks, how he talks, how he positions himself. Does he stand up straight when he's looking another man in the eye? What voice does he use? Like, all of these little things that I did not experience because I didn't grow up as a boy. And those were some of the things that were just hard.
As Mr. Jordan said, and every single session is to be your most authentic self. Before Forever Kings, I was very, very sheltered. I had gone through a whole lot that I didn't want to, and I was really upset that I had to experience all that. And coming to myself now, I'm a completely different person. If you look back at me all those years ago, you'd never know that I went through all that.
I felt like I had a community that understood and solely focused on my child. It's not that I didn't have a community before. I had my family. Of course, if my children needed something and I couldn't because I was doing it alone, they showed up, right? But I had a community that solely focused on the well-being of my son. And that was priceless. Years ago, there was an incident where my son did not want to be here anymore. And Forever Kings, while he loves his mother, he will tell anybody Forever Kings changed that for him. Forever Kings made him feel belonged, like he was a part of something. And he's proud, like he's very, very proud to be a Forever King. He's so proud that he's like, I want to go to college for this, but in my spare time, I want to come back and make sure I'm giving to my community the same way that these men in my community gave back to me. And so I'm grateful because, you know, sometimes we allow our sons to get caught up with the wrong crowd and the wrong kind of people. Forever Kings was not the wrong crowd or the wrong kind of people. And so what I wanted to instill in my son as a mom, Forever Kings expounded upon that. And it was a great partnership the whole time. So the relationship dynamic changed in the most positive ways. Now, my son and I are close. We've always been pretty close. So there were things that he would still want to share with me. And as mom, it would kind of be like, oh, okay, like, wow, I can't believe you just said that to me. But it was also other times where I got to push back, you know. I got to say, have you talked to Mr. Jabari about that? Or you should bring that up to Mr. Jordan. And it gave me a space to just be his mom. Of course, I'm his primary parent, but, you know, after a couple years, Jordan, Jabari, everybody became my baby daddy. Everybody. Because I had that level of support. And so our relationship just continued to blossom into something beautiful. Because I did get to just be mom and be a little bit more of the nurturer while I had a more masculine support system around me and my son.
Piggybacking off of that, for most of my life, I had to bounce from father figure to father figure. I didn't have one that would like always be there when I needed him most. I had a long time ago, I wasn't even connected with my dad for a good like 7 years until I finally got back to him a little later on. So I really wanted to, I'm really glad that I got the nurture and care from Mr. Jabari, that he had to put up with a group of like 20 boys for the last 5 years. But regardless of that, I still felt like him and I could like one-on-one, and he'd still give me the amount of support and care that he'd give to everybody else, and I wouldn't feel left out. And whatever I can do, because I'll still be an alumni, I definitely want to give back to Forever Kings and make sure all the young men who may have been going through the same thing as I have, will have the same love, support, and care that I was delivered, because nobody deserves to go through such a hard time when the world is not kind to us as is.
So I always knew that my son was going to be a different kind of young black man. I did not know what that looked like because I did not know what I was going to be able to put into him. You know, when I had my children, I had them very close. So I was a new mom with a boy and a girl at the same time. And I was pretty young, and so we were all growing up together. This young man that is sitting next to me, I knew he was going to be great. I knew he was going to be different than other young black men. I'm just grateful that Forever Kings was able to see what I saw in my son and nurture more of that and bring it out of him more than I was able to do on my own.
We are Forever Kings.